Welcome to the Daily Serving. This is brought to you by Tom Heintz. This week we're still working on eggs and breakfast, and this time we're going to be applying various cooking methods. Now, nothing is as popular for breakfast than the egg. I mentioned a while back that the funny hat that the chefs wear, has folded pleats. It's called a toque. In the beginning, it was back in the 1800s. The original reason for the folds in the hat was to signify how many ways that the chef knew how to prepare eggs. So each pleat represented a different way of preparing eggs, and that also denoted how much experience that chef had. And that was, the original number on the hat was 100, so that was the goal. I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to find that kind of experience level now. Today I'm going to give you a list of simple explanations for some of the ways that you can cook these eggs. Now, obviously we don't have 100, but we will go in and do at least 7. How's that? We have shirred eggs. Now, shirred eggs are usually baked, and what that is, they take a ramekin, which is a small baking dish, and you line it with bread or ham or creamed spinach or something like artichokes. And what happens is you take 2 eggs, first of all, unbroken, and you put them in the ramekin, and then you bake them until the whites are firm. They're about 3 to 5 minutes. And then you add a little cream, you add your diced ham, your other ingredients, which could be spinach, it could be anything, and then you top it with cheese and just grill it real quick on the top so it kind of melts that stuff down. And that's what shirred eggs are. About 2 eggs, 3 to 5 minutes, then add your topping. Now, quiche is basically an egg custard. Now, you take a baked pie shell, pre-cooked, and then what you also do is you take your ingredients, anything that you're going to want to put in it, and you kind of cook those up too. You add your cheese at the very end. So you add your ingredients into the pie shell, you pour in your egg mixture, and then you add your cheese on top. And it's going to take a little longer to cook. Now, it's going to not look done when it's done, so you need to almost use a thermometer to try and see if it's ready. About 140 degrees. And this is what it's going to look like. And then you can see this one was filled with spinach. Now, scrambled eggs, when you cook them, you're going to basically whisk the whites with the seasonings, and sometimes you add a little cream or milk, and it's poured into a medium hot pan, not super hot, but just medium warm. And then you stir continually. And I like to use a rubber spatula, and you kind of work from the center out, and you work it out and get it all cooked. Most people overcook them, and they cook when they cook too hot, it causes them to become rubbery. I do like to top them off with cheese and maybe a little ham. And that makes them pretty good there. So don't overcook it, but you can put additional things on there. Now, omelets, which is basically scrambled eggs with a filling, is usually done in a little smaller portions, and it can be an individual thing, but it can be wrapped around some kind of savory filling. Now, almost anything will work. Should be cooked first. You saute it, bacon, onions, peppers, veggies, so they're cooked, and you can remove that while you're cooking the eggs. And then when the eggs have been cooking for about, you mix them up just like you would scrambled eggs, and you put it in there for 20 to 30 seconds, get that fitting, the bottom of it starting to cook, and then you add your filling to the center, and then when you get ready to take it out, you fold them over the sides, over on the top of it, and it gives you a nice looking omelet that should look like this. Next thing that we're going to talk about is frittatas. Now, frittatas are really good, and there's a number of different ways you can do it. You'll notice on this picture there's a little bit of a crust on the bottom. Usually what happens is you take your fillings, it's basically an open-faced omelet. It's got a Spanish heritage. You take your ingredients, such as, I like to put potatoes, onions, peppers, that type of thing, ham and cheese in there, and then you can either put your eggs on the bottom and put that stuff on top, or sometimes some people will put the stuff in there and then they'll put the eggs over the top. So you can do it either way. It still gives you a really nice thing. It's basically an open-faced omelet. Now, boiled we talked about yesterday. Now, that's a soft boiled egg. That's about 3 to 5 minutes, so we won't go into that too much, but that's in your boiling water. Another one was boiled with hard-boiled eggs. Now, you'll notice the centers. Sometimes what people will do is they'll also prick the outside with a pin of the shell that'll keep them from turning green on you. And they cook 12 to 15 minutes. Poached eggs we talked about yesterday too, one of my favorites. And the big thing is don't put them in boiling water, you put them in at 165 degrees 74 Celsius, and 2 tablespoons of vinegar or lemon juice and a teaspoon of salt to kind of season them, because you break the eggs carefully into that. We talked about that yesterday. Now, pan frying, there's a number of different ways, and you go to a restaurant and they'll ask you, how do you want your eggs? Well, one of the ways is sunny side up. Sunny side up, here's a good picture of it. It means that the egg is cooked without being turned over, and so you've got that little sun on the top. Now, the yolk is still running on that. Then you have over easy, which is one time over, but your egg is still running. You'll notice that they've been flipped, and then that's usually the way most people have them. That's the way I like mine. Over medium, now you'll notice that the yolk is a little bit harder because it's been cooked. All it is it just cooks a little longer and the yolk is semi-firm. Next one is over hard. Some people like to have that, and that's flip once, cook longer, even more, until the yolk is firm completely. And then, of course, we have basted eggs. Basted eggs are like over easy, but what happens is you cook them in butter, and then, in fact, sometimes some people don't even turn them. You can tell that these haven't been turned. But they'll cook them in butter, and then just keep basting them as they cook until they're done to the, you can normally get your little edges around the outside there. And of course, last is broken. And some people do not want to have any runny yolk, period. So what they'll do is they'll break those, and they'll make sure that it's nice and hard. Well, that's our lesson for today. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at breakfasts around the world. So thanks for watching. This is Chef Tom Heintz, and we will love it if you tell your friends about this, and we can get this out there to more people. And this is the Daily Serving.